On stage are Besatha children, ready to present you a poem entitled AIDS. Welcome. In the past we live in peace, but now the world has changed. Our eyes are full of tears. We are dying because of AIDS. We need to warn the people. The people must be warned. AIDS is a killer. AIDS is a border. We need to work together to conquer the disease.
Mungu wetu ni wa ajabu.
Mungu wetu ni wa ajabu. Mungu wetu ni wa ajabu. Mungu wetu ni wa ajabu.
Mungu wetu ni wa ajabu.
Mungu wetu ni wa ajabu. Mungu wetu ni wa ajabu. Mungu wetu ni wa ajabu.
Wapi kaniweka wapi?
Kanitoa chini kaniweka kati.
Green and blue are the colors of Nyando district in western Kenya. Blue for the vast Lake Victoria, green for the rice fields and pastures of the flatlands. Immense open spaces are dotted with humble huts belonging to the sub-locations and villages, some of which haven't seen changes for centuries. Poverty is deep. Most of the dwellings in the sub-districts have no access to electricity, running water, nor medical posts. Lela sublocation has one of the highest prevalence rates of HIV and AIDS in Kenya. In the province of Nyanza, where Lela is located, approximately 15.3% of adults between the ages of 15 to 64 are infected, almost double the national average. This part of Kenya is particularly poor, battered by diseases, natural calamities, and is notorious for lack of job opportunities. Average income for the entire family could be as low as 80 US cents per day, that is, if there is a job available. Life expectancy here dropped from 62 to 47 years, and in some villages, almost entire productive age population has been wiped out. Children are often being taken care of by their ailing grandmothers. Malnutrition is widespread and school dropout rate is alarming.
My name is Ivona Tema. I'm in standard 5. My mother is called Margaret Atieno. My father is called Paul Otieno. My father died when I don't know anything. My grandmother took me to her.
In 1998, against all odds, several community members decided to act by setting up Bethsatha Orphanage and Community Resource Center, a Kenyan community-based organization now supported by Henkel International and UNESCO since 2007. Bethsatha was founded with the aim of mitigating the impact of HIV and AIDS through community participation. The Children's Orphanage was built on land donated by community members. This center is for orphans of HIV and AIDS, and it currently supports 32 vulnerable children. The Henkel UNESCO support is also helping 271 orphans outside the orphanage, and it provides for their education. Furthermore, a number of community people living with HIV and AIDS are benefiting from home-based care and support. In spite of having developed income-generating scheme, which includes the Community Village Bank, Bethsatha is still frequently short of resources. Problems facing the community where it is located are simply too many.
That is the... Why don't you say something? Open your mouth. Open it wide. Let me see. Open. Okay, yours are good. And you? Oh my God, one is gone completely. My name is Alice Omondi. I'm a widow and a mother of 4 children. Between 1994 and 1998, HIV and AIDS hit my family and I lost all my brothers. After losing all my brothers, the same year, 1998, the government declared HIV/AIDS a disaster in the country. So I was disturbed and the fear of death gripped me. Looking around in the community where I was born, I realized that even the neighbors were burying every day. So I went back to my family in Nairobi. I counseled my family also, talked to my children and my husband, and they all agreed to help me come and sensitize our people in the village and raise war against HIV/AIDS. The community came in a big number and they called this place a place of hope and healing. It is called Bethesda. Bethesda is where we are now. We started in a humble way in this building, and then later on we were helped by Henkel Kenya to build a permanent house.
My name's Idris Omondi Makoyola, one of the directors in Bethesda Children's Home. In 1998, that's when this program was initiated. I just finished my law school, and the need for a community program became inevitable by virtue of the HIV/AIDS scourge that had affected or infected the community. Affected in the sense that there were a number of villages that every single day you would hear somebody talking about the HIV/AIDS scourge, that they have lost somebody within that particular community or a clan or even from a family setup. This led us together with Alice Omondi, who had just come from Canada, having lost a number of her own relatives, to think through what could be done.
One of the things that really made me to resign from my work is a very sad memory. I was in my home. I'd come to bury my brother whom I follow. Then the chief came to my place and told me there was a big crisis. One of our grandmother, a very old grandmother and blind, totally blind, she lost her son and her daughter-in-law, and the couple left behind 5 girls. One night when it was raining heavily, it was in April, the year 2000. So when I came, what I witnessed up to date, I hate the memory. I found the 5 girls that some of the boys around that home break into the old woman's house and raped the 5 girls.
One of the things that we observed was the plight of the orphans and vulnerable children. The orphans and vulnerable children level was so high. One of the things was that from every community there were orphans. Every community there were vulnerable children whereby one of the parents either died of HIV/AIDS or opportunistic diseases such as TB, which if you have to examine critically, you find it was HIV/AIDS that eventually they succumbed to. Most of the orphan children would ask themselves, how come you have left my friend out? Yet, I'm also affected. My dad passed on. My mom cannot support us. She is down also with HIV/AIDS. In the few days or months' time, she will also have gone. You know, how can I also be accommodated? Because we have no food in the house. We know they should do better. We know that they can do better. We know that we can help them move to the next level, but only with the help of me and you. Yeah? Once we come together and see that that comes to happen.
1,115 are still waiting in a list, and these are total orphans. They also need basic needs and be taken to school. We address the issues of child education. The children in this community where we are situated, we have 300 children being catered by UNESCO, but 1,118 are on the waiting list. These are total orphans without anybody to support them. The Kenya government only give tuition to the children, but they don't provide for their clothing, their shelter, and food. So that's how we come in. And it is not easy to cater for all the children in this area.
To help identify the most vulnerable child. This child can be vulnerable by virtue of poverty or by virtue of HIV/AIDS. By virtue of poverty, you will find that the child has been brought up in an environment of affected by HIV/AIDS, but the clan is very, very poor. And therefore, we have to bring them on board. And it is important for us to understand that HIV/AIDS is not about just being infected. HIV/AIDS is about being affected also.
Sida maangan ki sida kama nowe agini kwayo auche. Ariyo gi kauna ang'wenan. Jowuoyi nan ga dik. To githo gi mondgi to gwe agini kwayo auche. Tagruok mango tuo donjo kuoma. Aonge nyalo kaka dwa ng'apidhi. Ang'wen mango gi. Kora kwayo. Nakaw yie to konya. Kaka sani, ukaw na ariyo. To mango go aura wara kawiriga ema kelo gima tin mwakonyore. Okanya. Tienda ok nyon kama ng'ich. Lweta gagi ok nya tiyo.
Nyinga en Masilina Koth. Jaoda en Samson Unditi. Samson Unditi notho 91. Noweya kod nyithindo. Nyithinda manoweya gogo bende ochako tho. To sama notho, noweya kod tuo mar AIDS. Ne othogo. Kata an be koro ne an go. Koro nyaka sani asebedo ga ka an kamano. Adhi osiptal. Osiptal be yore bor. Ta atemo muonyo yath. To ngima maber madak go onge. Adak e ngima marach. Ka asedak kamano, nyithindo manoweya go, be noweya gi nyithindo kapod tindo, ma nyithindo bedo jomadongo mokendo. Koro nyithindo go be kosekendo kamano, achiel kuomgi nokuongo tho, mokuongo mbele. Oweya gi nyithindo 4. Kaeto machielo bochako tho, oweya gi nyithindo 3. Koro gin nyithindo 7. Koro asebedo ka 7 gi, ema asebedo ka ladhorago kamano. Koro ngima man go kani, an gi ngima matin ma ok ber. Koro nyithindo gi madak go kagi gi, adak kodgi e chandruok nikech kaka konyra onge, to kawuok adhi adwero, kadhi ago tong'o ne ng'ato, eka yud gimichamo. To sama onge be ginindo kech. Onge aonga gimoro amora maseneno nyaka ne chakre. Onge gima aseneno ma nyaka ne chakre. Obed nanga, nyathi onge kata nanga, onge to gimoro amora ma dang' nyathi konyre go onge, wuoche, nyithindo wuotha gi tiendgi kaka gin. Adwar ni moko odong' okonya to moko modhi kucho nikech ka kokaw gi te be koro kadong' kenda to rach. Nyaka dong'e gi moko. Kaka ne gikawo na nyathi achiel, to nyathi achiel no taneno ka alime tayudo kodak maber. Koro man go e dala ka gigi emodak marach.
Ga ana Alison Ochieng Odhiambo. School Kolowe Primary School. Jahigni 10. Adwani ka abed doctor. So again, adwani akon dani gi jok mo odhiel gi jok magien osetho. Gosiepega mang'eyo matugo mathagore. Nanyiewnegi, anyagero ne ot, anyiewnegi gik modwaro. Kaka yath, ka gin. Kane nyithindo obed maler, gidhi sikul. Kadane bet maduong' adwani katigi ni TV, somo be gisom.
Kendo abiro duogo ma wachni ni ok en gima nidhi dwaro go pesa oyuma. Wan wadwaro mana kaka wakelni jowa.
Nyithindo to nitie mathagre kata gi mon ma chuogi otho. Dwaro kony. Koro mako yie no onyalo konyona, to wang'eny gi nyithindo ahinya nyaka sekondar. To koro okonywa konya. Moko be ywak kata sami nena bedo ka. Ineno mama moa kacha kabiro kwaya. Ywak man nyithind kiye. Koro konywa. Koketo no konywa dago erokamano nikech ji thagre. Nyithindo be dwaro somo. Chieng' lokne. Sirkal miya kony. Gikelo na chiemo. Kich ging'eny to atero negi. Gichamo ng'ech. Gikelo oduma. Mo. Oganda. Kata moko be kokelo, jomoko be kokelo sukari. Apogo gi kata itedo negi chai. Gimadho tigo gi picha. Mondo ji ong'e kaka gino dongo. Miye. Ji to nakonyo makata ok oyombo. To nakonyo ji. To mano ni nyalo miya beda ol ni barak biro miya. An akonyo ji. Sirkal mar Kenya be jomoko miya lewni. Jomoko miya chiemo. Koro mano miyo mare no be kata kobiro konya. Okonya to kan gi geno ni gima tegemea ang'iyo. En tich na ma Nyasaye omiya atiye.
We want to see that even within this vicinity, that we have extraordinary connection with the world. We have plans to have IGA programs, income generating activities, towards the sustainability of this program. It is not enough just to have a program and keep on asking. It is imperative that we should have a program that can be self-sustainable.
It's the making of the children's uniform. You realize in Kenya, children still go to school in a uniform. They don't put on their home clothes. So this project, if supported well, will make so many uniforms, and the community around will come and buy from us. That also will help us sustain this program. We've been able right now to sink a clean water borehole, which will support the entire community where we are. And the rest of the water will be able to sell also to the people around, and that will enable us sustain this project. We also intend to start a cyber cafe. This will enable people in the village to connect with the other world, and this is something very new in this community.
My name is Julia Tieno. I study at Migingo Girls and I'm in Form 1. This organization has helped me so much since I was a young child. When I was young, it was a time when I was 3 years. Auntie Alice, who is the owner of the orphanage, came to my mom and told her about the orphanage, because by that time my dad died because of the intestines. It was an intestine problem. So I was brought up and brought to this place because we used to not have food at home, and sometimes we could not have places to sleep. So I came into this place and I was provided with everything.
It is nice because before that, when I was still below 3 years, when my parents died, life was very uncomfortable because I used to live with a stern grandmother, and she also died, and my relatives never took great care of me, and I was suffering, hungry and starving, and they came to my home, our home I mean, and take care and took me to this place, and they've started now to take care of me.
My father died a long time ago when I was small, and I was brought here by my mother. When after my father's died, that's how I was brought here, and I'm happy for Bezata because they sponsor me. I'm going to school, and other children, they don't have school fees and other things like uniform, and me, Bezata sponsor me, and I'm now okay.
I don't know what happened to my father. Maybe he was sick, and he was taken to hospital. Maybe there is where he was died. My mother is, when I was in my grandma, I heard that she was dead.
Anda temali siksumu kapango alis konyera palalela atogera atumakinena adebana adena daligolofa menebana.
Sigala gala bariwia, sigacha lisi nyarongete. Sigala maya lisio. Sigala gala bariwia. Sigala gala bariwia, sigacha lisi nyarongete. Sigala maya lisio. Sigala gala bariwia. Nindi pinde lo chadi kalisi. Nindi pinde. Nindi pinde.
The suffering population, the people who are very poor, the gap between them and the haves is very big in Kenya. That is known, and it is everybody in Kenya knows that the gap between the haves and the have-nots is very big. But how to address that gap so that the have-nots also may not be denied life through the provision of food and through the provision of educating their children, so that in future their children also can support themselves.
Right now, Harrison is safe in Bethesda Orphanage. He's enjoying a fresh start. His plate is full, and he can now study, play, and enjoy his childhood. But thousands of less fortunate children are still out there, scattered in the villages, often hungry, some HIV positive, almost all living in extreme poverty. Unless more community-based initiatives such as Bethesda emerge, it appears that their future will be bleak and life short. Defying despair, Bethesda initiative is like a flicker of hope which should not be allowed to vanish.
Asande nyaro nyango donzo gonge